welcome everyone. This video deals with part 2 of the poem 5, A Father Took His Son, written by Carl August Sandburg. The previous video class we have seen enough information about the poet. So this poem shows the fair responsibility of a father to his son. The advice from a father or elder person is a treasure to follow, which they give us from their own experience. But sometimes the young ones fail to lend their ears to feed their mind with the golden words of the young elder people. Here, in this poem, a responsible father advises his son because his son is at the threshold of manhood. So he gives the proper advices how to face the challenges, how to overcome all the difficulties in his life because life is not a bed of roses. It's a very hard to live. So he asks his son to be strong like a rock. And he says, life is a soft loam, so be gentle and go easy. Then it's a great advice of a father. So be gentle to others. It will make you a sublime one. Then he says, everyone should have a rich wanting. Rich wanting means here, we should have money because without money we can get nothing. So, but he says, we have to earn money in a proper way. So don't involve in any illegal way. If you get any illegal money, it will let you walk like a dead body. So before you meet your real death, and also it will make you like a thwarted worms. So don't involve in any illegal activity to get the huge amount of money. So now come to the next stanza of the poem. Tell him the time as a stuff can be wasted. Tell him to be a fool very so often, and to have no shame over having been a fool, at learning something out of every folly, hoping to repeat none of the chief follies, thus arriving at intimate understanding of a world numbering the many fools. Here, look at the first line of the stanza. Tell him time as a stuff can be wasted. So here the father asks his son, take his own time. So be relaxed and think in a proper way how to overcome all the challenges in his life. So it will not be considered as a wasted one. So the father asks his son, he can waste his time in relaxing to comfort and thinking in a better way. Tell him to be a fool every so often and to have no shame over have been a fool. So in this line, the father asks his son, so don't feel ashamed to be called a fool for not knowing things because you are seeking knowledge. Then, at learning something out of every folly. That's when your father asks his son. So the son should learn something better things from each and every mistakes. The folly means your mistake. So don't feel ashamed to be a fool because you're learning from your mistake. So learn something from your mistake. They're hoping to repeat none of the chief follies. And it was the great responsibility of the son. The son should not repeat the same mistake once again in his life. So thus arriving at intimate understanding of a world numbering many fools. Thus mean, if we have the close understanding with the world, so we will come across the number of fools around us. So don't one among them. Come to the next stanza of the poem. Tell him to be alone often and get at himself. Here the poet gives the great advices to his son. He asks his son to be alone without any companion. To spend the time in a lonely way, in a relaxed way. Because when we are alone, so we can think the better way. When we are with a companion, so we cannot think about ourselves. Simply enjoy the time or leisure the time. And get at himself. Thus when he asks is make a self-analyze. So we need to identify our potentials. So we need to identify our faults. We need to identify our good things. So make a self-analyze is a better way to find your potential. And above all, tell himself no lies about himself. And also he says, so don't tell any lies for your sake. So whatever the white lies. So look at the white lies means, what is called white lies? The lies that told to avoid hurting someone's feelings. So sometimes we may lie to save other people. So the father asks us, so don't say any kind of lies because he may use against other people. So once, if he tells the lies means the future, so they will not accept your truth. So it will turn you against the people. So the father asks his son, so don't tell any lies in his life for the people or for himself. I tell him solitude is created if he is strong. If a person is mentally strong, he can make a solitude as a creativity. Here, the solitude is a creativity. That means the person spend the time in a lonely way. So it will develop the creativity power. And the final decisions are made in the silent room. So most of the worldly important decisions were made in the silent room. So the father asked his son to simply spend your time lonely in a silent room and make their decision in a better way. Stanza. I tell him to be different from other people if it comes natural and easy being different. He should be different from other people if that is nature. He should not be one among the people because everyone should have a unique talent and a unique power. He should be unique and different if that is what makes him happy. So don't be one among the people. So we should stand alone. Let him have lazy days, seeking his deeper motives, letting him seek deep for what he is born natural. So here the poet, the father asks his son to spend the time in a lazy way. Lazy means here it is not for working, it just to spend the time for thinking in a better way in a silent room to identify his inborn talent, inborn potential. So lazy days, it is called a transfer epithet. So epithet means an adjective. So transfer epithet means the adjective moved to another noun. The person actually here lazy, but the poet says the lazy days. The days are not actually lazy. So it is called a transfer epithet. The poet asks us, the son may need lazy days to find his inborn abilities and to seek what he is born for. Then he may understand Shakespeare and the Wright brothers, Pasteur, Pavlov, Michael Faraday, and free imagination bringing changes into the world, resenting change. So after he identifies his ability and inform talent and what he is born for, so he can understand the hard work of these successful men. The Shakespeare was a great writer, dramatist, Wright brothers who invented the aeroplane, the Pasteur, the biologist, the Paulo, physiologist, the Michael Faraday is a scientist. So the free imagination bringing changes into the world, resenting change. So they spend their time in a lonely way, think in all the wide way, and brought the changes, brought the invention to the world. It changes the world. Actually, the world does not like the change, but they change the world. So look at the word resenting change. Resenting means dislike. World resenting change. That means the world does not like the change, but their invention, their achievement change the world. Shakespeare, an English poet, playwright, and actor widely regarded as the greatest writer in English language and the world's greatest dramatist. Pasteur, a French biologist, microbiologist, and chemist renowned for his discovery of the principles of vaccination, microbial, the fermentation, and pasteurization. So all the successful men, the mostly spend the lifetime in a lonely way, in a silent room. Paulo, the Russian physiologist known primarily for his work in classical conditioning, the greatest physiologist in the world. This is Michael Faraday, the scientist. His main discoveries including the principles of underlying electromagnetic induction, diamagnetism, and electrolysis. So what a great achievement in science. So he also spending his time mostly in the silent room and in a lonely way to prove their wisdom to the world. The last stanza of the poem. He will be lonely enough to have time for the work he knows as his own. The father again and again he asks his son to spend the time in a lonely way, in a solitude way, because the solitude is the creativity. When the person spends the time in a lonely way means he can develop his creativity power and also they have enough time for his work. So if anyone identify their inborn talent means they will come up in their life with the flying colors. So we need a guidance of our father. It's very, very essential. It's a mantra for life. So everyone should respect the words of your elders and the fathers. So definitely the words of their own, because they share their words from their own experience, how they faced all the challenges, how they came up in their life, so how they overcame all the difficulties in the life. So we need to obey their words. So thank you. So here we can discuss the important figure of speech in this poem. The first one is the antithesis. So, what is called the antithesis means it is a literary device that emphasizes the idea of contrast. Contrast means the opposite things. Okay, look at the poetic lines. The growth of the frail flower in the path of us sometimes, shattered and split the rock. The broods have been gentle where the lashes failed. So look at the first line of the poem. The frail flower. The frail means a very soft and tender, very the soft flower, the soft plant can split the rock. The rock is a very strong one. It can shatter. Shatter means broken into. The next one, broods have been gentle. Broods and gentle. Okay, that is called the antithesis. The next one is a transfer epithet. So what is meant by epithet? Epithet is a word or phrase which describes the main quality of someone or something. It's an adjective to qualify the person or things. For example, happy person. The person may be happy, is no mistake. Okay. Then come to the transfer epithet. It is a figure of speech in which an epithet grammatically qualifies a noun other than a person or things it is actually meant to describe. For example, sleepless night. A night cannot awake or sleep. So a person had a sleepless night. Wonderful day. Really, the person had a wonderful day. Day doesn't have it. So it means to transfer to another noun. That adjective transfer to another noun that is called the transfer epithet. For example, look at the first one. Lazy days here. Look at the first line. Let them dead ears. Ears cannot be dead. Okay, so only the person had dead ears. So here dead ears is a transfer epithet. Lazy days. The days are not lazy. Actually, the man have lazy days. The next one, resenting change. Resenting means dislike change. Change does not like or dislike changing. Okay, so it is called a transfer epithet. Here, next one is repetition. The repetition is nothing but so word or phrase repeated again and again in this line. Look at the first line. They tell him to be alone often and get himself, and above all, tell him himself. Look at the word tell him is a repeated word, so it is called repetition.